Hey guys, so we're post Age of Overlord, so I just wanted to do a minor update with the Cyber Dragon decklist from the last time. Basically, the main thing that's changed is like SP Little Knight, which I'll get to a little bit, but you know, it's a really good card, and so yeah, I guess we'll just quickly get to the list. So we're gonna just start with 3 Cyber Dragon Core. Realistically, the only good normal summon in the deck just gets you the Cyber Dragon spell traps. The 3 Hers, and that's just primarily for the Galaxy Soldier Hers play to get it to Nova Infinity. I know a lot of people just play 1 Noxia. I've always liked playing 2, especially because I like to send 1 off of Rampage for the future, for example. And then just like, you can always like revive back with like Rev System, and this will bring back like Nova Infinity or Rampage or whatever. And so yeah. And then also, of course, the OG, ulti, well, not OG. OTS ulti Cyber Dragons, because we're playing Machine Dupe. The other Galaxy Soldier for, again, the Nova Infinity line. Other light machines is Kaiju. I'm just playing 2, or rather, I am playing 2. Usually you only play 1, but we do have Pearly in the mix and X-Pearly Noir. You know, it's very easy to get rid of. I think Pearly is actually a pretty decent matchup for this deck, just because we're very OTK oriented. I do find that it's actually a lot better than compared to some of the other meta decks right now. So Jizuku is very nice for that. Just the 1 Regulus. This deck, especially with SP now, we can do kind of go back to the way I used to really like playing this deck, which is having the capability to OTK, but also just having the potential to kind of play the grind game if you don't OTK them. And Regulus kind of helps with that as well, just serves as a kind of like an Omni negate. You can play the field spell as well. I mean, realistically, I'm only playing 1 Regulus, so it's kind of like if you have it kind of mindset. And then the only hand trap I'm playing the main is Droll. I was playing Nibiru last time. I think right now I'd actually prefer, if I had to choose, Droll over Nibiru in the main. I think it's just super good, and especially as a going second deck, you know, this is a lot more impactful, just so you can try to essentially kill your opponent. Spells. 3 Cyber Emergency, nothing too fancy there. 1 Repair Plan, can add you that, rather Jizukuru, primarily Galaxy Soldier probably. One thing with X-Pearly Noir, like in a Pearly matchup, is technically if your opponent actually knows how this deck works, the moment you have like a Cyber Dragon Grave, they may just spin it back so that you cannot use this. But if you do play this and then they spin back like your only Cyber Dragon Grave, like this is still going to resolve. But again, if they use that effect to spin, then they're probably not unaffected anymore, so maybe you can actually still play anyways. Rev System, Overload Fusion, just to, you know, your fusion plays, really. Machine Dupe, I really like this card. Just enables your OTKs, and also going first, if you choose to intentionally go first, or maybe your opponent forces you to go first. This is just like the best way to go into like your kind of like Nova Infinity, and now actually SP Little Knight as well. And this is also particularly useful in when you have Shifter in the format, because you cannot use Galaxy Soldier under Shifter, so you kind of want other ways to get into your standard line of play. I'm still playing 3 Clockwork Knight. This is still good. Contact Fusion away. Usually, you know, isn't going to trigger most cards. Some exceptions, like let's say, I don't know, like Abramax is kind of an old example. But just keep in mind of this card, your baby Cyber Dragons will gain attack, so they're not going to be able to, you can't use Machine Dupe on them to bring out original Cyber Dragons. So that's kind of like the only conflict, so you kind of have to sequence things properly. We do also have 3 Duality. So this is really good. I'm still playing at 3. I mean, I guess you could play 2 if you want. It's not only good for enabling OTKs, but because you're just regular Cyber Dragon or Soldier can turn into a Chimetic Rampage, it actually enables you to kind of start your plays if you kind of brick, because you can always send Hers core, Hers at back core, and then actually start your plays. Double droplets in the main, just for effect negation, and also again, you know, ideally prefer this over something like Dark Ruler, because you are at least trying to OTK. Sometimes you may not be successful, but it's also very flexible going first as well, in the event that you have to choose to. Some back row removal, we do still have, you know, something like Rescue Ace, I guess even Labyrinth. So just some board wipes. Talents, this is really nice. As a going second deck, this is pretty much always going to be alive. SP also comes in because it's a generic, essentially a generic link too. And when you take your opponent's monster and you cannot actually OTK them that turn, at least you can link it away for SP. And speaking of talents, we also have Thrust. Just there's a lot of good normal spells in this deck, including even like able to start like Cyber Emergency, Machine Dupe, whatever, and then all just like your blow up cards. And because we're sort of going back to the potential of being able to kind of grind with your opponent, I decided to put back the Prosperity. Up until the last couple months, I ended up taking it out because I felt like, you know, this deck kind of had to just essentially primarily focus on OTKing, but now perhaps there's actually some hope to grind a little bit. Moving on to the extra deck, you know, nothing really changed that much. Like Almirage, Anima, this can actually be a lingerable if Ibli were to become more popular. Right now in the popping Rescue Ace list, I'm actually not seeing it. the Seeger, and shout out to my boy Takumi filming right now for lending me this. SP Little Knight, this is really good because Cyber Dragons have always had the capability of providing like Nova Infinity plus like a link too. So back when we had Anaconda, that was great, but since Anaconda got banned, essentially we kind of had like wasted resources because we have an ability to go into a link 2 easily on top of what our regular combo would do, but it's just there weren't any good link 2s up until now. So now we do have this, and it actually provides some kind of a grind game, so that's really nice to have. Double Nova, 1 Infinity. I usually play 2 Infinities, but the reason I switched is actually also because of Chaos Angel, and thanks to Chandler for lending me this one. So this, I don't know, I'm kind of trying it out. I mean, realistically, you're probably focusing on going into Nova Infinity line, but there are some cases where, let's say, your opponent will expect you to go into Nova, but then going into this kind of catches them off guard and, you know, outs a card that you're having trouble with. Some Chimera Tech monsters, of course. 1 Mega Fleet doesn't come up nearly as much nowadays. I mean, technically, I guess your opponent, Pearly players, sometimes tend to put their Explain Noir in the extra monster zone, but realistically, they'll just, I guess, spin back if you summon a Cyber Dragon body. This is because of Clockwork. I always like Double Rampage. This can also come out of Nova if you get Nibiru, which Nibiru is kind of popular right now. And the Cyber Twin, and this comes off Duality, essentially. With Fortress, for example, because it's level 8. So this can really enable easy OTKs as well. And finally, onto the side, just some more hand traps, especially because this is a deck that you are blind second, so you're going blind second, so you need to have something that's more flexible in case your opponent forces you to go first, in which case hand traps are really good for that. So Nibiru, very good. It's also a light monster, so you can pitch off Galaxy Soldier, worst case. Triple Ash, really good against Labyrinth, Branded, whatever. And Rescue Ace. Bestials, just because this deck is going to struggle against Cheer Elements. That deck is going to be very hard for this. A lot of layer interruptions and the Graveyard Shufflers also really, really hurt Cyber Dragons. So some Bestials, this will of course conflict. If you have a body on board, you can't just special summon Cyber Dragon, but realistically that also applies for Nibiru in the last like 4 or 5 years since it's been out, and we've been playing it anyways. Just like double evenly, just for additional back removal, Rescue Ace, Labyrinth, in case we're we're willing to give out the battle phase, just get rid of those. 1 Overflow, I'm still not really maining it, just because again against like Unchained Chillmans, it's not going to be very good. So realistically, it's for when you decide to go first. Which again, when you decide to go first, you play something like Rivalry, which is very good against something like Cheermans, branded builds, and it's actually can be potentially good going second as well, depending on the deck, and especially in combination with Clockwork, which turns everything to machines. Your opponent will likely get locked out because, let's be real, they're probably not playing a machine deck. So anyways, thanks for watching. Huge thanks to all my friends who lent me some cards for this profile, and well, actually shout out to Go for Game as well for allowing me to do this in the store. So thank you.